Business session of the December 21st, 2021 meeting to order at 6:26 p.m. All council members are present. I want to start, before we welcome our guest, in the chaos of having a joint county and city council meeting at the beginning of our last meeting, we failed to welcome our interim city secretary, who is joining us. This is her first meeting as interim city secretary. We are so thankful to have Patricia back with us, and just thankful for the great work that she's already done since she's been back. She has had, we unusually posted our agenda on a Saturday. She was here for that. She has done a lot of great work in a busy week right before Christmas already. So we just want to extend our warm welcome to you, Trish, and glad to see you up here today. And we'll also welcome to all of our guests and visitors. We provide an opportunity for the public to address the City Council on any agenda item or during the hearing of visitors portion of the agenda. On items other than public hearings, speakers will be allotted 1 3-minute presentation regardless of the number of agenda items the speaker wishes to address. If you're here to speak and have not filled out a registration card, please see the City Secretary staff at the registration table outside the auditorium so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. When called to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker must limit comments to 3 minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments, and you'll be given a 10 minutes to address the council. Please note that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you're forfeiting your right to speak on that item. For any person addressing the council through the use of a translator, the speaking time will be doubled to accommodate the translation services. While the public discourse is important to the council, we have to maintain order in the meeting so that all persons may be heard and the city business may be conducted. So, if directed by me, the Sergeant of Arms shall remove any person while addressing the city council or while attending the city council meeting who makes personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, becomes boisterous, or makes unauthorized remarks from the audience, claps hands, stomps feet, whistles, yells, or makes similar demonstrations. Now, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have 4 public hearings tonight. The first is public hearing 2021-903, and Galen Price, the Director of Housing and Code Enforcement, will be making a presentation.
Skipped over the minutes.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Trish. I'm so sorry. The first item of business is to conduct the minutes of the September 7, 2021 and December 7, 2021 meetings minutes. These minutes were provided in your meeting packet. Are there any corrections?
Nope.
If none, those minutes will stand approved as submitted. And now we will move on to the first public hearing. Thank you, Trish.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is a public hearing to receive comments on the 2020-2021 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, better known as the CAPER, for submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. The city is required to complete and send to HUD and on an annual basis a CAPER, which describes the activities undertaken during the program year using federal grant funds granted to the city of Waco by HUD. This year's CAPER covers the period of October 1st, 2020 to September 30th of 2021. A draft copy of the CAPER was put out for public comment on December 8th of 2021 and will remain out for public comment for 15 days. Notice was posted in the Waco Tribune Herald on December 7, 2021. Copies are provided in the Community Services Department, in City Hall, the City Secretary's office, and in all 4 libraries for review by the public. In addition, a copy is available on the city's website on the Community Services Department webpage. No comments were received as of this public hearing date. No formal action is required by council other than holding this public hearing.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions for staff? We will open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on this item? Seeing no speakers, we will close the public hearing, and since no action is required, we'll move on to the next item, which is to consider public hearing 2021-904. I believe Kent George, our Director of Economic Development, will be making the staff presentation.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is a public hearing in accordance with requirements of the Texas Tax Code, Section 312.002C1, to consider a resolution reauthorizing the tax abatement policy by adopting the City of Waco Business Tax Abatement Guidelines and Policy Statement for a period of 2 years effective from January 3rd, 2022 through January 3rd, 2024. Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code requires that a municipality must adopt guidelines for tax abatement before it can grant tax abatement agreements. Therefore, a municipality may only enter into tax abatement agreements that meet its adopted guidelines. These guidelines are effective for 2 years from the date adopted. Effective September 1st, 2019, Chapter 312 also requires that a public hearing be held at which members of the public are given the opportunity to be heard regarding an adoption, amendment, repeal, or reauthorization of tax abatement guidelines and criteria. Notice of this public hearing was published in the Waco Tribune-Herald on November 19th, 2021.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
I had a question on this one. The guidelines that were presented on page 62 to 76, are those different than the previous ones, or are we just basically the same ones we have always had?
Yes, sir. Those were the same ones that were years 2019 through 2022.
Zero changes. If there was a red line, there would be zero. Nothing would show up.
Nothing has changed, sir.
Okay. All right. That's my only question.
Any other questions for staff? We will open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask for a motion.
I move to adopt the guidelines as presented by staff.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Palmer. Voterich.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Barfield.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and the next item to consider is public hearing 2021-905.
This is a public hearing on an ordinance amending the project financing plan for reinvestment zone number 1 for tax increment financing, TIF Zone 1, to consider approving an amendment to the agreement with Washington Partners LTD for public improvements associated with the repair and renovation of a 2-story building at 729 Washington Avenue. Said amendments to include an extension of the project completion deadline and reduction of TIF funding to $292,200, and authorizing the city manager to execute any documents necessary to complete these transactions, providing an effective date, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to you on first reading. On October 14, 2021, the TIF Board voted 5-0 to recommend an amendment to the agreement with Washington Partners LTD for public improvements associated with the repair and renovation of a 2-story building at 729 Washington Avenue. Said amendments to include an extension of the project completion deadline and reduction of TIF funding to $292,200. As required by law, a notice of this public hearing was published in the Waco Tribune-Herald on December 10th, 2021.
Any questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move for approval on first reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Sorry, who made the first?
Alice. No, I did the first.
He made
Alice
the
did
first,
second.
I did the second.
If this is.
That council members Bordered and Palmer have filed an affidavit of substantial interest on this public hearing.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Trish. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Barfield. Meek.
Yes. That motion carries, and the next public hearing is to consider, or the next item to consider is public hearing 2021-906.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution approving the following subdivision plats. Final plat and construction plans of Creekside Edition Phase 10, amended preliminary plat of the Thanksgiving Park Edition, preliminary plat of Lake Ridge Estates Edition, ETJ, final plat of construction plans of Southwest Village Edition, Part 12, and final plat and construction plans of Oak Bluffs Edition, Phase 2, in ETJ. By a vote of 7-0, the Planning Commission recommended that the subdivision plats and construction plans be approved.
Are there any questions for staff? We'll open up a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone here present to speak on this item? Hearing no one, we'll close the public hearing and I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Palmer. Voderich.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Fairfield. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move on to the resolutions. The following resolutions were pulled from the consent agenda and will be voted on separately. The first resolution tonight is Resolution 2021-924, and we do have a speaker who's here to speak on this item. The first speaker we have is Dr. Alan Northcutt.
Which resolution is this again? Mayor?
This is Resolution 2021-924.
924, okay.
Alan Northcutt. Resolution 924 details a memorandum with Baylor University concerning development of a mixed-use sport entertainment destination and a future science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics academy in East Waco and a future performing arts center. Although citizens don't have access to plans for this structure, if they even exist at this time, I found no mention of sustainability requirements in the text of the agenda. Especially, there was no mention of eliminating greenhouse gas emissions. Of course, there's a broad spectrum of what could be done on elimination of emissions, with LEED certification being probably the top rung, and I have something in your handout concerning that. But for Waco, the minimum elements for greenhouse gas reduction I would consider in this would be: number one, powering the structure with purchased 100% renewable energy; number two, installation of a white or other cool roof design; number three, installation of rooftop solar. Now, in addition to producing clean energy, this equipment would be perfect for any school. It would demonstrate the concern for children's future, and it would be an ideal laboratory for science and engineering students. So I think rooftop solar is a must for this building. And fourth, basically, the policy now, the rule now is electrify everything. The climate crisis requires elimination of other energy sources within buildings, including natural gas lines in this case. Relying on electricity for all heating and cooling would be optimal. In addition, every attempt should be made to install HVAC systems with low greenhouse gas potential refrigerants. And these new refrigerants are supposed to be available for this size equipment in the next couple of years. So it seems that will be doable. Now, the other resolution I wanted to talk about was 925, and it concerned a parking garage for these new facilities. Now, this building would probably function for at least 40 years or so. So EV charging is a must for this project. Bloomberg predicts that new car sales, EVs will predominate over fossil fuels by 2035, well within the lifetime of this project. This parking garage should contain 220-volt EV-ready outlets, level 2 chargers, and possibly level 3 chargers, which though are more expensive, but at least the first two. Charging will be needed for lengthy parkers such as students and teachers, and short-term parkers such as those attending sporting events, especially out-of-town people. Now, the Sustainability Board called on the city in their report to cut greenhouse gas emissions. In 2021, delay of mitigation of emissions is really the same thing as rejecting the climate science. So I would call on the council to reject just taking the convenient route of doing what we've always done and make this citizen review meaningful. Require that this project meet these minimum goals for greenhouse gas reduction. And this would contribute to the goal of preserving coral reefs and other biodiversity for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Northcutt. The next card I have is from Mr. Teresa Porter.
Howdy, y'all. Teresa Porter, Heart of Texas Electric Vehicle Association. Yeah, everything Alan just said, yes. I gave y'all some handouts, just a couple quick, nothing too boring. The benefits of EV charging. One benefit that might appeal to y'all is the public charging stations where people like me buy electricity from when we refuel our cars. We pay sales taxes on that electricity. Y'all like sales taxes, right? Yeah, income, right? And we are at almost 106,000 electric vehicles already. That is triple what we had in January. And this number is not going to stop. Page 3 shows you more's coming. And this project's going to be finished by 2024. Even with the slow growth that we're currently experiencing with EVs, we're looking at 500,000 at least by 2024. Electrify every single parking space. Or at least lay the conduit, because those of you that are, into the construction stuff, shovels are cheaper than jackhammers. You don't want to have to come back later and add in the EV infrastructure. Be ready for it now. And with 600 parking spaces, at least 60 EVSEs, units, so that your students and your residents and your tourists can come and plug in and contribute to the sales taxes. And y'all, the future is looking really amazing for the electrified transportation sector in Texas. It's already a $1 billion industry, billions and billions, and it's only going to get better. So, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. Always great to see you. Merry Christmas to you, too. Those are all the cards I have for this one, so I will now ask for a motion on Resolution 2021-924.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Discussion. Please poll the council.
Holmes. Rodriguez. Aye. Fairfield. Yes. Meek.
Yes.
Councilmember Palmer and Borderick are disqualified from items 924, 925, 926, and 927.
924 carries, and we'll move to Resolution 2021-925. Is there a motion on that?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Rodriguez. Fairfield. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. I'll move to Resolution 2021-926. Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Rodriguez. Aye. Fairfield. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and I'll move to Resolution 2021-927. Is there a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Rodriguez. Aye. Fairfield. Meek.
That motion carries. The consent agenda consists of resolutions 2021-907 through 2021-923, with the exceptions of 2021-924, 25, 26, and 27. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move for approval on the consent agenda, especially highlighting the canceled regularly scheduled January 4th session, which I believe is a gift to council and staff, so.
Second.
Please poll the council.
Aye.
Palmer. Borderick. Rodriguez. Aye. Fairfield.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2021-928.
An ordinance designating a non-contiguous geographic area within the city of Waco as reinvestment zone number 4, city of Waco, Texas, for tax increment financing purposes pursuant to chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code, creating a board of directors for such zone containing findings and provisions related to the foregoing subject, providing a severability clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed to open public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 3-0 council vote on first reading on December 7th, 2021.
I'll ask for a motion on this.
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Rodriguez. Aye. Bearfield, and council members Palmer, Boderoot, and Meek are disqualified on 928.
That motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2021-929.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, adopting a new redistricting plan, thereby revising city council member district boundaries in response to the 2020 census, adopting findings of fact in election precincts, providing for an effective date, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing a savings clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on December 7, 2021.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Aye.
Boderoot. Yes. Rodriguez. Aye.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2021-930.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, establishing the land use and zoning designations of property located along South Valley Mills Drive to the former Floyd Casey Stadium property between Memorial Drive and Willowbrook Street, providing number one, that the comprehensive plan be amended to establish the land use designation as urban residential on property described as Lot 1, Block 1, Baylor Stadium Edition, and Lots 1, A2, B2, 3 through 5, A6, B6, 7, 8, 9, 12, A13, B13, and C13, Block 2, Acre Acres Edition, known as 914 South Valley Mills Drive, property ID 162872, 900, 904, 906, and 910 South Valley Mills Drive, 3000 William Landings Road, and 32203232, 3300, 3306, 3308, 3312, and 336 Willowbrook Street, property ID 161067, 161068, 161069, 161070, 161071, 161072, 161073, 161074, 161075, 161076, 161077, 161078, and 161079, collectively the Group A properties. That the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, and the zoning map shall be changed, so the zoning for the Group A properties described above shall be established as R1B district classification. 3, that the comprehensive plan be amended to establish the land use designation as mixed-use flex on property described as lots 1 through 4, Block 3 Acre Acres Edition, known as 3301 Memorial Drive, property ID 161080, 918 South Valley Mills Drive, property ID 161081, and 916 through 920 South Valley Mills Drive, property ID 161082, collectively the Group B properties. And 4, the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, and the zoning map shall be changed. The zoning for the Group B properties described above shall be established as C2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on December 7th, 2021.
Well done, Jennifer. Is there a motion?
Approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Palmer. Boderoot. Rodriguez. Bearfield.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to ordinance 2021-931.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing the zoning map shall be changed that certain property described as lots 1 through 10, A11, B11, and 12 through 14, Block B, Man Subdivision, known as 1001 Webster Avenue, 406 and 418 South 11th Street, shall be changed from M2 and M3 district classification and become and be designated as C4 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on December 7th, 2021. And Councilmember Palmer, I believe you're disqualified on this one. Okay.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval, second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Boderook.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Bearfield.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. And we'll move to ordinance 2021-932.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing the zoning map shall be changed that certain property described as 20.126 acres, 876,694 square feet of land in the Thomas J. Chambers Survey, Abstract Number 7, City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, being a portion of that certain tract of land described in a general warranty deed to Waco Johnson 143 Venture LLC, as recorded in instrument number 2014-018066, official public records, McLennan County, Texas, property ID 167933, located along the north side of Creekview Drive, south of South New Road, shall be changed from C2 district classification and become and be designated to O2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-1 council vote on first reading on December 7th, 2021.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading?
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Palmer. Boderook. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll now move on to the hearing of visitors. The hearing of visitors section of the agenda provides an opportunity for the public to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. Council was unable to conduct discussion, but we will listen, ask staff to look into concerns, and will provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. Is there anyone present who would like to speak during the hearing of visitors? I have a pre-registration of a Linda Bethley. Is Linda Bethley here tonight? And I also have a card from Mr. Ephraim Herring. Mr. Herring?
My name is Ephraim Herring, and I live at 1046 Chestnut, 1044 Chestnut. The problem there is still there, so we're not going to go in there because I found out more problems there that I didn't expect it. But I'm coming today to talk about Elm Street from Garrison to Clifton. Before y'all started the upgrade on the water system there were sidewalks on both sides of the street that was put in for the previous tenants. One had the church that put in a sidewalk from, you could walk from Garrison Street all the way to Clifton Street out of the street, or you could walk on either side of the street. And you had lights on the poles. Well, when y'all started this project, like I'm saying, you did the multi-purpose center, when I looked at y'all proposal for the cost on that, like I was telling Mr. Kane, that, you look like you're a little short on money because sidewalks cost more than what y'all had put down for y'all budget. So now, the contractor, I've checked this spot, he's moved out. But yet, the sidewalks, there's no sidewalks from Garrison to Clifton Street. There's no security lights or street lights from Garrison to Clifton Street. There was before y'all started this project, but it's not there now. The reason why I brought this up, because I almost hit a guy the other day while I was driving down the street. It's pitch black at 1 in the morning. People walk down that street. I exercise down that street. When we used to exercise, we have more people now coming in and being more physical conscious about their body. You used to go walk at the YMCA, but that's closed now. Y'all bought that, and we have no date on when you go open the track around so you can walk anymore. They could used to go to train. You tell them train's closed and gone. And we used to walk to Bell Mead. Bell Mead used to have Gold's Gym. That's gone. So places for exercise within a mile radius of my house or people in that area is no longer there. So my concern is now is, especially I've seen people walk their dogs, because the only store after 5 o'clock, after 6 o'clock in that area within less than a 1.5 mile radius is on the corner of Garrison and Elm Street. People walk there all the time. So my concern is When are we gonna finish the side, at least a sidewalk or at least lights? Either one of those two, so people can see somebody when they're walking down the street for their safety. Thank you for your time. God bless you all. Have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. We will get staff to look into those items. We appreciate you being here today. Is there anyone else here to speak? If not, we will close the hearing of visitors, and I'll ask if there's any council member reports, committees, boards, or commissions, or liaison visits.
I don't have a report, but I failed to, we were moving kind of fast at work session, and I didn't request an agenda item. So if you would allow me, Mayor, I would just kind of would like to hear from City Manager Ford and City Management an update on the STEAM Center, because I know we're working through the community listening sessions with Digital Harbor and where we are, and I'd just like to get at our next January meeting an update on where we are with that, please.
Any other requests for future agenda items? All right. Guys, I just want to thank our city staff for a great meeting tonight and a great 2021. It was a great day. This was a really great agenda with so many powerful, important items that are going to be really positive for our city. But when I look back on this past year, I'm blown away by the good work of our city staff. And I just want to take a moment to thank you. It doesn't go unnoticed. The work that this team does is valuable and is helpful to this community. The tangible work that you do is good, but what I love most about our staff is that their hearts are in the right place. The people on this team really, really do care about the good and the well-being of our city and the people in our city. And I'm so thankful for that. And to my co-council members, I'm so thankful for this team. We have an amazing opportunity to do good work in this community, and I believe we're blessed. And I'm thankful to get to serve with this team. And I look back on the last year and the work we did, and it's meaningful and it's good. So I'm looking forward to a great 2022. Thank you to our staff and to this council for the work that we did this past year, and can't wait to see what we get to do together in 2022. So there being no further business, on behalf of the Waco City Council and city staff, we wish each of you a safe holiday season, and this meeting is adjourned at 6:58 p.m.